Welcome to another edition of the Solid Sports Video Blog, right here on the Solid Sports and Gaming channel. This is episode 129. Today's date is August 1st, 2020. Thank you for joining me this morning. Big show today as we back to our regular weekly blog. I'm Troy West and thank you for joining me again. Got a lot to talk about. Sports is back, at least they're trying to be back, even though baseball got some bumps in the road with COVID-19, the outbreak of the Miami Marlins. I still be calling them the Florida Marlins. And a few other teams now have positive tests. We'll talk about that. See, is baseball even going to make it through their short 60-game season? NBA is back. Started back Thursday. Had some wonderful games the last 2 days. Been checking it out. We're going to talk about that, get into that. And a lot of NFL news as well this week. The Jamal Adams trade to the Seattle Seahawks. LaShawn McCoy signed with the Buccaneers. Joey Bosa, big contract. Also, just yesterday, the Antonio Brown news. We'll talk about all that today. Touch on some college football news. And NHL also starts today. They start their season and they bubble in Canada. But first, we're going to stick with our MLB update, baseball update. Is the Major League Baseball season in jeopardy? Is it in trouble? You gotta say so. Basically, earlier this week, almost been a week now, the Miami Marlins, just coming off a series. Who they was just played? They just played. I think they just played the Philadelphia Phillies. So they was stuck in Philadelphia. That they had a whole lot of positive tests. Now it's up to 18 players and 2 coaches, so 20 members of the Miami Marlins contracted the COVID-19, so they shut down their activities all week. So have the Phillies, just as a precaution. But 2 players for Philadelphia has it, I believe. And then now, a couple of days ago, the St. Louis Cardinals have 2 players that have COVID-19, so they had to cancel their games. So a lot of games was canceled this week. It affected a lot of teams. So like today, a lot of games were canceled that features the Cardinals and the Miami Marlins, particularly, and the Philadelphia Phillies. So they're the 3 teams dealing with it right now. Of course, man, the Miami thing is way out of control. 20 people, that's a lot. But I think, like I said, as far as me, just by everything I've read and seen with COVID-19, is like, I think you're more accessible to it when you travel. That's just the bottom line. It seems like a lot of people that travel wind up contracted the virus. So, but it's been getting bad all over the United States again. Just first it was down south, now it's starting to come up north a little bit. I'm in Maryland. Our numbers has went up the last few weeks, the last week and a half. So things are starting to get a little bit out of control again. So I'm a little bit worried as far as for the baseball season for sure, and just for the total health of the United States. I say people, I guess, I don't know, people not doing what they're supposed to do. Like, it's still a lot of stuff unknown about this virus. So I just be, like I said, when I go out, I have my mask on, which is now in my state, it's mandatory. You gotta have a mask when you're outside, period. No matter what. They made that mandate, I think, yesterday. And for sure a lot of the other states probably had the same mandate. So that's what I've been doing, hand sanitizing my hands, washing my hands when I go into a store or something like that. So I've been taking all those precautions, and luckily I haven't had it. And I'm in a assisted living facility, so it'd be very vital for me not to contract the disease. So I've been very careful. Like I say, we've been pretty much stuck in the house for the last 5 months. Like I said, when I had my little days off, I go travel a little bit. Well, go see friends of mine, but that's about it. Not around a whole lot of people. Not around a lot of people normally anyway. So maybe that's why I've been kind of one of the lucky ones. But still a lot of the unknowns about the disease. But I guess just do the typical stuff and you should be all right. And just don't be careless. But I'm not saying these players. Well, they were saying something came out that some of the Marlins players was like they was going out, not going straight home after games, all that nonsense, which is, I mean, the only way I can come up with is stupid if that's true, you know. Then they was saying rumors saying they're gonna have like basically like a cop snitch. I call him a cop snitch because he's supposed to be a security guard. But basically, some type of security guard, something to follow the players, or monitor to make sure the players doing all the protocols, like wearing their masks. Like if you're doing something that's not protocol, they're supposed to pretty much blow the whistle. So I know players don't want that. I mean, grown man, you don't want somebody, you know, follow you around, making sure you do what you're supposed to do. But if they was doing those type of things, I guess the skeptical. That's way beyond an outbreak. 20 people. So something happened that wasn't supposed to happen, and the Phillies played them, but only 2 players caught the virus. Not saying they caught it from the Marlins, but for the Marlins to have 20 people, something went wrong somewhere. You would think so, you know, but who knows? But yeah, if something like that happened, like I was so scared about the Phillies too. I was like, well, if they have say if they number get the 5 or 10, and then baseball did the Commissioner Manfred did state, basically gave a warning, like if they don't get better, they'll have to close the whole season down, which I hope not. You know, as a sports fan, it was just so good to have sports back again this week, but baseball definitely got an issue. But I think it's the traveling. The NBA, we're going to talk about the NBA in a little while. They stuck in a bubble, but I think it's hard. I mean, it's been arguments about why baseball didn't do a bubble, why the NFL won't do a bubble, because it's too many people. I think it's just too many people to do a bubble. It'd be pretty much be pointless. Or do you have the space, you know, to do a bubble? Where they were saying the NFL will have 4, you know, have a bubble for each division or something like that. Baseball, the same thing, just have a bubbles for the division. But I just think it's too many people, and I just think it won't work. So hopefully, you know, things stay the way they are. Like I said, the Cardinals, it was two players. I think the Phillies, I think I've got to check that. I think it was 2 staff members. I don't think none of the players contracted the disease. I think they cleaned on the players, so I might have misspoke on that. But I think that's what it is. But they canceled their games just to be precautious. So I think Monday we'll have understanding what's going on, because this weekend those teams won't play, and the teams they were supposed to play won't play either. So. But I just hope things clear up and we can have some more baseball and continue the season. But it don't look good right now for Major League Baseball at all. Alright, let's actually talk about some stuff on in the game instead of just the coronavirus. Everybody saw what happened with the Astros and the Dodgers this week. Pitcher Joe Kelly, I guess, had a little beef with the Astros. Of course, the Astros got caught cheating. Well, they got disciplined around last year about that, right after the season. Found that in 2017 they was, you know, stealing signs with electronics, like with cameras and stuff, banging on the trash cans. Like basically when an Astro player was up at the bat, somebody pretty much alert them what kind of pitch was being thrown, and they wound up winning the World Series. And the Dodgers was their opponent, so right directly their opponent in the World Series, and they beat the Dodgers in 2017. So the Dodgers as a whole has a problem with it, which I would understand. But the contradictions of Joe Kelly, even though Joe Kelly, you know, I don't think he should have got 8 games. He got an 8-game suspension. I think that's too high. Because he ain't actually hit nobody. He tried to hit people and it almost was a fight, but he actually didn't hit nobody with the baseball, even though he aimed for somebody's head. I think it was Carlos Correa, I believe, of the Astros. But He got an 8-game suspension. He's a pitcher, so that's basically like 2 starts. But in this short season, that's very significant. Missing 2 starts could be big for the Dodgers. They already got issues with Clayton Kershaw and other smaller injuries, but the Dodgers still look good. But yeah, that was a crazy thing was going on. I think if the coronavirus was going on, they probably would have fought. But Temperance fled. He got 8 games. Most people think that's unfair. So do I. I think that's too high. I think he should have maybe got just one start, maybe missed 3 games or something like that. That's crazy, man. But the contradiction with him is he was, Boston. Because it sort of spread it out the league. They affected the Mets because they hired Carlos Beltran. He was on that team. He lost his job before he gave a start. And Dave Roberts, they let him go because he was involved. Well, the Red Sox, I think he was a bench coach or something on that team. And then he got the Red Sox job, and then they won the World Series the next year, which is crazy. So they had to let him go. Alex Cora, I'm sorry. Dave Roberts is the manager for the LA Dodgers. Dave Roberts used to play for the Red Sox, so that's why I got confused. But Alex Cora, he lost his job as the manager of the Red Sox because he was a bench coach for the Astros the year before. So it carried on throughout the league. Like I said, the Mets was involved, was affected as well. But Joe Kelly was on that Boston team, the 2018 that won the World Series. So people were saying why he's so upset when his team did it too. So I mean, you could, a lot of baseball got a lot of contradictions. That's the issue with baseball. I'm a baseball fan. I've been a baseball fan since I can remember, and I stuck with it. I don't know a lot of baseball fans, to be honest with you. I don't want to make it a race thing, but a lot of my black people, they don't really care for baseball that much. They say it's boring, and then, with the stupid little rules, and then there's not a lot of black players in the league either, so I think all those things factor into why it's not a lot of black fans. But I grew up watching baseball, and I always just, it just stuck with me. Like I said, I was a Braves fan, still a Braves fan. So, I continued to like baseball as I got older as well. But so that's the contradiction with that. I think both of the managers got 1 game. I don't know why Dusty Baker got a game, because he, like I said, he's the new manager for the Astros, and he don't got nothing to do with that. And his team got thrown. So I understand his suspicion. Maybe he should have got fired. I think he got fired. I don't think he got suspended now that I think about it. But Dave Roberts did get a game, I guess for not checking Joe Kelly. But it was a crazy situation, but it was good just to see sports again. That's the good thing I took out of it. But this is gonna happen again. I don't know if I know they played them 5 times, so they probably got another little short series. So they're gonna play again. We'll see how things go. But I know baseball don't allow it to shut it down. That's probably why they gave Kelly to make it. That's why I'm like, we're not gonna tolerate this, especially during this time with Corona. You don't want nobody fighting and getting close to each other for no reason. So they came down hard on him. I understand in that sense, but I think the overall situation, I don't think he should have got that many games. But these 2 teams can be together in the World Series as well, because the Astros still talented regardless of the cheating that they did. And I think they caught a break by not being no fans, because the fans, there's a lot of fans that don't appreciate the Astros also. They would get booed all over the place. But there's no fans, so you just focus and play baseball. And then now, I'm about to talk about Mike Trout, but I picked the Angels to win the AL West. Now I don't feel so good about it, because Mike Trout is out. He opted out, and the Astros look better than I thought they was going to look. I had some doubts in them, not about the cheating. Well, part of it was that, like, when they were able to hit the baseball like they did in the past. And then they lost Garrett Cole, So I think it would be too much on Justin Verlander, who's already hurt. They say he might be out for the year, so that level days back out. But the Angels not having Mike Trout, that's huge. Really, very huge. He's suspected to have a child, so he don't want to endanger his family by maybe catching corona. So he decided to opt out. Well, I don't know if he opted out. He said he's on the paternity list. I don't know if he's gonna just see the birth of his child and come back. I don't know how that's gonna work. But I got a feeling he might think, because he's been one of the ones adamant about being nervous to come play. Charles Barkley a few months ago, right before, I know he was probably on ESPN, wasn't on his normal TNT, because everything was shut down. I think they just started shutting down because there was a scare that Charles might have had it. That was rumors out there, but Charles was I think he just had some flu-like symptoms, so he was just sick, but he tested negative for the virus. But Mike Trout was just around him. So Mike Trout called him and was like, man, what's going on? And he thinking he just want to talk. He's like, no, I'm trying to find out who got the virus, just, see if if I need to get tested for it. This was right before, in the early stages, probably in March or so. It became a funny story because none of them had it, but it's real out here with that, man. That's why I'm afraid baseball, I don't know if it's going to make it. I don't have a lot of faith in it making it. If, like I said, if another team have a big outbreak like the Miami Marlins had, the commissioner already said he's going to have to shut it down. I think that's the right thing to do. But like I said, it's hard that everybody criticizing them for not doing the bubble. So it'll be hard to do a bubble. It's too many people. Like I said, I think this is a 60-man roster. Because of the virus, they got to expand the roster, even though they're all not together. But it's too many people. And like I said, you got to think about the facilities and all that, So I don't think it will work. I think basketball will be the only sport that will work in, and hockey. But I think hockey, I think it's like 5-on-5 or 6-on-6, so it's around the same amount as a basketball team. So we'll see if hockey works. But they had Canada not playing up there with corona. They put people in jail if you mess around and not do what you're supposed to do. So that's why their cases are so low. They're not playing with people. They make you stay in the house. So you want to pay that $1 million fine? Basically, everybody will say it's $1 million. It's like a $750,000 fine. And you got to quarantine for 2 weeks if you come out the country and come back. You got to quarantine for 2 weeks, or that's when you face them fines. So Canada not playing, man, with that at all. So maybe hockey might work too. But that's the baseball news for this week. We about a weekend, we got off to a rough start, but hopefully, like I said, the Marlins can get healthy. The 2 Cardinals players can stay away and not spread it. Phillies as well, and we can get back and finish this season. But like I said, traveling is always going to be tricky traveling anyway, and I think that's the difference between baseball and basketball, which we're about to talk about right now, because the NBA started on Thursday night and it was great. Both games was great. TNT had the New Orleans Pelicans, which is trying to vie for that 8th spot against the Utah Jazz. That came down to the wire, and Utah was able to pull it out. And Clippers Lakers. Clippers was missing some guys. Lou Williams was missing. Martez Harrell was missing. Lou Williams, let's go ahead and talk about him real quick. He was in the news this week. He had a family emergency. Now in the NBA, like I said, they got a bubble. So once you're in the bubble, you're supposed to stay unless it's a real family emergency. Like Zion Williamson, who played for the Pelicans Thursday night, he had to leave and come back. But I think when you come back, you got quarantined. It depends on what you were doing or what they found out you were doing. You got quarantined for a certain amount of days. Now, Lou Williams had a family emergency, and he's from Atlanta, and Georgia is one of the, spots for the virus right now, one of the hot spots, I think. But he was caught. Well, whoever, I think it was a rapper. I don't know who the rapper is, because, I'm not going to lie, especially today, I don't know about no rappers or nothing. I don't know about music, or I'm just not into it. I wasn't really a big music person, but especially not now. I don't like today's music that much. It's a song here and there I've listened to that I like, but not often. So I can't just name rappers off the top of my head that I know. But anyway, one of them posted something on social media showing Lou Williams at I know people from Atlanta know what Magic City is. It's a strip club. He was there when he had a mask on. He was in the picture with him. They was buddies. And Lou Williams is from Georgia, from that area. But he said he just went in there just to, just went there to get something to eat, get some wings. People killed him. People was gonna kill him. What you doing at the club anyway? This, and that. There's been more criticism than people. Some people have came to defense for him. Like people from that area said the wings are that good. Like it's not just going to the strip club. So that got me. Well, I never been to Atlanta. To be honest with you, I never really been nowhere but here in Baltimore where I'm at. I mean, I've been a few places down south, but I haven't really traveled that much a lot. But I haven't been to Atlanta, but shit, it made me want to go just for the wing. I'm a wing. I love wings, man. So if the wings that good, I mean, man. And then I never been to a strip club either, so I can do, and I heard the strip club down there is lit down there, other than up here in Baltimore. We got a little strip, but I never been, to our strip clubs here, but they said Atlanta's a whole other level, or down south, period. But I mean, I don't have no judgment towards them, man. Like, especially if the wing's good, I'll go anywhere for some wings. So if it had to be a strip club, then so be it. You know what I'm saying? Then he had his mask on, which is good. So it wasn't like he was just out there partying. I don't think he would. I really believe him. Like, I don't know Lou Williams from at all. But I believe him. Then people from the culture, or from down there in Atlanta, they were defending him because they say the wings are that good. They vouched for the wings. So, and I love wings. So I will go anywhere just for the wings. I don't give a damn where it is. So I feel him on that. But I mean, so the NBA, he has to quarantine for I think it's 10 days. So I don't think he'll be able to play till sometime next week or something. So they was missing him. But the Lakers still pulled out their game, winning by 2. All the games, there's been some sloppy moments. Been a lot of fouls. Like, that's the thing. It's been a lot of fouls. Like, the games last night, Milwaukee, Boston was on ESPN. They had Houston and Dallas on. That game was crazy. James Harden, should have saw him last night, 49 points. Him and Russell Westbrook together, man, they thought that would work. Now, Houston's problem is, just to get off, I'm going to go back to the Lakers and the Clippers in a second, but Houston is one of those sleeper teams. A lot of people think can break through. I think they can do it. Like I said, they got to hit the threes. Like I said, they got to hit they let James Harden and Russ do their thing, but when they collapse on them, kick it out to the three-point shooters. Now, Eric Gordon is missing for a while. I think he got an injury. But they still got some shooters there. But they small, and I think that's Dallas. I'm just gonna say it. I don't feel like explaining everything, but I used to be a Mavericks fan. It ain't that I just quit on them or nothing like that. It's just that I like the Mavs because I used to like Michael Finley, which is a player, a long player, and that was on the team for a long time. So I used to like the Mavs. Then I liked Dirk Nowitzki as well. When he came into the league, when he came into his own. But anyway. They blew that game. They choked that game. They should have won that game, man. They had so many opportunities to win the game. Luka Doncic still look good. I like Luka Doncic. Him and Porzingis. Porzingis look good, man. Moving real well. So does Luka, because I want to say it was Doris Burke on yesterday with I think it was Mike Jones calling that game. I know Mike Green and the A crew, Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson, they called the Bucks game. But I think it was Mike Jones and Doris Burke. But she said, like, Luka looked faster. He does, because I haven't seen him play a lot, but I see this, look at his how he looks slow and sluggish a little bit. I think he lost a little bit of weight. He's fat. That's dangerous. He's fast. That means he gets to the bucket faster. He was fat. He looked a lot looser last night. So Dallas is a team to watch out for, but I just think they said they had problems closing games during the season, and it showed last night because they should have won that game. That game went to overtime, by the way. It was a good game, But to get back to the Lakers and the Clippers, I think like I said, them not having Lou Williams mattered. But like I said, I think the Lakers is the best team because they bigs. Just to point out Houston, like I think that would be a bad matchup for Houston. The Lakers, I don't think they'd be able to beat the Lakers. The Lakers could throw all the big men at you and out rebound you, because that's how Dallas was destroying Houston at first. Like in the offensive rebounds, like they got so many offensive rebounds. And I think the Lakers, like I said, that's why the big man still, as far as scoring, the big man value probably not as value anymore, even though a lot of big men going out shooting threes now too. Like Boston, big man Tice from Germany, which I see him play for Lord. He steps out to shoot threes. Al Horford. So you got centers that shoots three. Well, Porzingis is a center, but I don't consider him a center because of the way he plays. Because this little guy still put their back to the basket. But anyway, I think it mattered that Lou Williams and Martell were there, but I think, Paul George had a monster game, so did Kawhi Leonard. LeBron, he had a good, okay game, but not his best game. Anthony Davis dominated, and that's what he gonna have to do, especially against the Clippers, because the Clippers don't got no big men. They showed no big men as well, so I think the Lakers with that advantage, I think has the advantage over everybody. I think they have the best big man trio with Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee, and nothing to play around with either. So that's why I really like the Lakers' chances. And Kyle Kuzma, if he played like that, that's a big factor as well. And I said that, when the season was a regular season, he's going to be the X factor, be like the third wheel, the third scorer, unofficially a little bit. The Avery Bradley thing hurts the Lakers too, him not playing, but Kyle Kuzma looks sharp. So also, LeBron gonna get his legs back. LeBron was still doing other things. He was playing defense, he was rebounding, just scoring was just a little off, but that'll come with him, so I ain't worried about that. So the Lakers to me looks every bit. Well, this is just one game. They play the Raptors tonight. I'm gonna check that game out tonight. Toronto's an interesting team as well, which we talked about. That could probably throw a wrench into this whole thing. A lot of some experts is because they come out the East. Milwaukee, they looked at okay at times. They just, to me, even though they scored 119 points, they looked at a little offense. Looked at a little, Giannis looked good. He still looked good. Chris Middleton, a little rusty maybe. But they got a lot of 3-pointers where they got Kyle Korver. I like the guy Evan Chenjo. I think I might be saying his name wrong. For Villanova, I like his heart. I like how he plays. They get Eric Bledsoe back. He had the virus, so I don't know if he's in Orlando yet, but I know he was quarantining, of course. They get him back, pair him back with Giannis and the crew. I don't see nobody really beat Milwaukee. We'll see how Philly looks today. NBA man, but it felt like another thing. It felt like a real game. There's no fans, of course. They in the bubble. They in this just little small facility. They got the virtual fans though. Like you can watch the game. It's like you there watching the game, but you at home virtually watching the game. They pumping a little crowd noise, a little music, to make it feel. But it felt like a real, to me, it felt like I barely could tell the fans was there. I gonna say barely could tell because of course, you can look at the stands and see there's no fans. But then you hear more noise on the court. I like it. It really is. It's good to have some basketball back. So I'm so glad. These last 2 days have been great. So some more basketball. Basketball all day today starting at 1. And matter of fact, I'm going to take a nap. And probably watch that first early game. And then I'm going to go get some snacks and stuff. I'm going to barricade myself in my house today. I guess I watch some basketball all day. But the restart has been amazing. It's been great. One more thing I want to touch on before we move on to the NFL news. The Grizzlies, Ja Morant, they played yesterday. They had a big game against the Blazers yesterday. They lost it overtime. That was another good game. It was on early. Ja Morant said, he don't think it's fair the way it is. Like you gotta, the ninth seed will have a chance to steal the AC from you if you within 4 games. And that's why that was a big loss for them yesterday. If they'd have won that game, against the Blazers, and I think the Blazers are going to catch them. I mean, that's just my opinion. Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, they doing their thing. Nurkic back. Bad news for him. His grandmother pretty much. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say deathbed, but she's in a coma because of COVID-19. She's 67 years old. So, he had to deal with that yesterday, but he played a good game. I think the Blazers are healthy. Carmelo, did it stay 21 for Carmelo? Carmelo looks good, man. Like, Carmelo look like he could be the old Carmelo again. Like, and that's it. If that's the case, the Blazers, man, there's going to be a problem, even for the Lakers, a little bit. Even though I think the Lakers will still beat them in that first round. Even though speaking of Charles Barkley again, I was speaking about Charles all morning. He predicted if the Blazers do get the 8th spot, they're going to beat the Lakers in the best of 7. I ain't going to go that far, but I do think the Blazers will get in that 8th spot, fortunately for the Grizzlies. But I think it has some unfairity to it because Memphis been holding that spot pretty much the whole year. But a lot of people argue, well, their schedule was going to get hard, so they probably would have went on a little slide, and maybe somebody would have caught them in the Blazers, Pelicans, Kings, and Spurs played yesterday. That was a big game in the season. The Spurs won that. That's another team to look at. Phoenix won their game yesterday, so Kings, that's a big loss. Like I said, Grizzlies, that's a big loss. It's not a lot of games, so you gotta make your push. You gotta win games if you want to have a chance to get in. So, but like I said, I mean, that's what makes it a lot of fun too. Like, every game means something. Wizards lost yesterday. I think the Wizards done anyway. Like I said, Bradley Beal wasn't playing. That was it, for them. But they there, so we'll see how they progress. Maybe they'll shock the world. Orlando won over Brooklyn yesterday, so Orlando's trying to secure their spot. But I think part of it's unfair, but I think for the circumstances, I think it's just to add some more excitement. But Grizzlies, all you gotta do is win. You win, you avoid that altogether, or you will have 2 shots to beat this one team. So if it do come down to that, that team still got to beat you twice. So we'll see. It's gonna be interesting though. But I have to lean towards it's not. It's kind of fair, but I understand where Ja Morant coming from, and I like him. He's a great player, young rookie who should win Rookie of the Year, by the way, this year. All right, let's go into some NFL news. We got some NFL news, even though football, August 1st, so about a little over a month away. So not gonna be no preseason games. At least that's what's going on right now in the NFL. They're gonna go straight to the regular season. So they have a month for training. Teams with the training camp. The Bills though had a hiccup as they had to shut down their facility because of COVID-19. So hopefully, like I said, they get that together. Like I said, NFL is gonna be tough too because there's so many people. And like I said, they're gonna be traveling, so it's gonna be tough for the NFL as well. So just hopefully everything works. Everything works for them. But off the field news, well, which is of course is off the field because there ain't no games going on. Jamal Adams trade sort of blew everybody's mind earlier this week. Of course, he definitely made it vocal. He wanted out the New York Jets for probably the last year, pretty much, might as well say. Finally got his wish. He will go to Seattle for 2 first-rounders and a 3rd. Now, to me, I think that's a lot, man. Even though Seattle's supposed to be a decent team, so they probably be a high one, like in the 20s. But still, 2 first-rounders, I wouldn't have given 2 first. I would have probably given them 1 and a 3. And I think the Jets probably still would have took it. My personal opinion, they still would have took it because I think Jamal Adams would have been a headache. So, but to get 2 first-rounders, and the Jets sort of need, they need those picks. So I think that's pretty good. for them. So I think they got what they needed for him, and I think Seattle gets a great player in Jamal Adams. We'll see how he fits into the Seattle defense. Of course, now Seattle becomes more of an offensive team with Russell Wilson leading the way. Yeah, I think this dog was high price, like 2 first rounders. I don't know if I would give it 2, maybe 1, and that third. And I think they traded one of these safeties to the Jets as well, but I think that was too much to me. I would have took at least one of those first rounders away. Maybe would have given them one for this year, or made them choose one, either this year or next year's first. But I wasn't going to give you both my first. No. Oh well, the next 2 years, because the draft is already passed, of course. So that's my only issue with it. I just think that Seattle gave up too much. But I think it's still a great player for on that back end of your defense. Hopefully the rest of the defense will round out, and Russell Wilson do his thing. Joey Bosa in the news, since we stay out west. LA Chargers give him a contract, 5 years, $135 million. I think he got a record guarantee for a defensive player. I like Joey Bosa, even though his brother doing some things in San Francisco. But you know, he had held out for the Chargers. Remember that when he first got drafted. So for them to be at this point now, a lot of things must have changed. But you know, you got a great player, you got to invest in him. So I don't have no problem with this contract. Hopefully he lives up to it, which he has. He's been a great player for the Chargers. Another. Well, you know, Phillip Rivers is gone. So like I was talking about the Giants, we had talked about the Chargers. Well, in 2 weeks, so we do the AFC West in my division preview specials. That's on Thursday. Next Thursday, we got the NFC West. So join me then. So they drafted Justin Herbert, but most likely Tyrod Taylor will start. And Tyrod Taylor's a nice, serviceable quarterback, but probably not somebody to give you over the top. At least a lot of people probably don't think so. But they're a talented team. Can they challenge Kansas City? We don't know. So we'll see. I think the Raiders will be better this year too. So we'll talk about the AFC West in detail in about 2 weeks. But congratulations to Joey Bosa. He deserves it. Players that put their lives on hold for us sometimes. Like I'm one of those ones. I think they, some people say, well, how they get paid that much money? First of all, it's how much. Part of it is because of how much they make. So you gotta think about that factor. I'm sort of on the fence about it sometimes. Like, dang, that's a lot of money, or because I'm a regular guy. Like, I gotta struggle with bills and stuff. So it's always that, like, damn, like you think a doctor or a teacher should make a lot of money, but it's just but the reality, it's not a lot of money in it. You know what I'm saying? So, and people are paid to watch football, simple as that. So I don't ever get all bent out of shape about how much money somebody make. But congratulations to him, and Chargers, hopefully this anchor will propel them to be a good football team. Probably be a wild card contender next year if possible, so we'll see. And some more news. Sadie McCoy signs with the Bucks, 1-year deal. LaShawn McCoy, of course, I think he's still known more for an Eagle. He was in Buffalo for a while too, but I think he's still known to be an Eagle. Have some of his best years there. Was probably one of the best running backs in the league when he was in Philadelphia. But I think this edition of the Buccaneers, just keep adding. And I'm not comparing their games per se. And like I said, Bruce Arians' offense is a lot different than New England offense with Brady. But he'd be like his like Jamal White, come out the backfield, catch some passes. Might get a couple of carries here and there, because the Bucks running backs are not, they average, so he definitely helps out with that. But I think he's going to be one of those guys, probably split out wide sometimes in the slot. Gives Bucks give teams different looks. Bucks offense definitely be interesting with Brady running it, with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and everybody else with Gronk, O.J. Howard. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. The more news, players are opting out. Players start to opt out. No huge names yet, but the biggest name to me is Dante Hightower for the Patriots. The Patriots got like 5 guys who is fast. I think Patrick Chung is among them. So they defense, the heart of their defense, is going, maybe going to fulfill those needs. Hightower in particular. So that's troubling for the Patriots. So that's another wrinkle. We'll see more news from them this week. They basically they said the quarterback position is up for grabs. Belichick said we'll see. That was his quote. So if they ain't gonna just hand it to Cam, but I think if it's not Cam, like what's the point? Like why did you sign him? Even though they got him for a bargain, I don't think Cam don't mind competing for the job, but I think he should be able to outbeat Jason Stidham for that starting job. So, but we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, a lot of players opting out. So no major names, but some players don't like how things gonna look, so they're gonna stay over their family. Some feel like Dante Hightower, he suspected the kid. Like a lot of these players are suspected children, so they just don't want to bring it home to their families. I understand that, so they just would rather be home for the season. They can see your child, first few months of his life or her life. So I understand that completely. Some players are just don't want to catch the virus, which is also within your right, and you get a stipend for it, which I think is the NFL. That's good, So if you opt out, you still get a little bit. You still get some money, to help you, throughout your time you out. So that's good. Speaking of that, it's the NFL season of trouble since people opting out. I don't feel great about it. I'm optimistic because a fan. But like I said, seeing what baseball is going through, like I said, NFL will have similar problems. So, like I said, hopefully they're able to still run this season. They got a month to figure things out. Hopefully, maybe if a miracle, maybe if maybe Corona is sort of under control. But as of right now, you see how it's spreading again. So you just don't know how things gonna turn out. So hopefully. We have an NFL season, but if I had to go by percentage, I'd say I'm say 55-45 that it's gonna work. 55% that it will work. So that's not a very confident percentage at all, but I'm still optimistic about it. So just as a fan, hopefully we'll get a season this year without any bumps or bruises. Or a lot of people will be an outbreak of COVID-19, and the NFL is a contact sport. So if somebody on the team gets it, you definitely, the other team is definitely going to affect them because, you've been touching them the whole game. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. But I'm optimistic as a fan. I'm speaking as a fan that I'm hoping that the season starts and finishes. But we'll see. Top 100 list. I wrote this down. I'm just going to touch over this for a few because I don't really pay too much attention to these lists, especially if it's by the players. No offense to the players. I'm not saying they don't know what they talked about, but a lot of people are biased for other people. So the big controversy this week: Patrick Mahomes cut off a Super Bowl win, was 4th on the list, and Lamar Jackson finished 1st. I think Drew Brees finished ahead of Mahomes as well. Aaron Donald was 3rd, I think. And Russell Wilson, he finished above, because Russell Wilson was 2nd. And Lamar was 1st. Of course, I don't agree with that. I mean, and I'm a Ravens fan. I think Lamar definitely made a big jump from year 1 to year 2. And I think he's going to make another jump again this year. And I think the Ravens will be a legit Super Bowl contenders to compete against the Kansas City Chiefs for that. crown. But I think he still got some learning. I think Pat Mahomes is just something special, man. Like you gotta put him number one. Like I said, Aaron Donald, I don't want to go argue too much about him. Russell Wilson either, because I like Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson is underrated in a lot of ways. But Pat should have been at the top of this list. But it was a players made list, so I don't know when they voted on it. Only excuse I could give that is, you know, Pat did miss some games. Last year he was hurt. But when he came back, he still was doing the same thing, and then he led his team to a Super Bowl. So I don't see why you couldn't put him number one. So it's, you know, but like I said, it's a bias. You know, it's biased opinion sometimes. So maybe that's what happened here, or maybe players really believe, you know, that Lamar deserved to be number one. But Carson Wentz wasn't on the list at all, which I don't agree with. So there's a couple of controversies about the list, but I don't agree with that. I think Pat Mahomes should be number one on the list. And Antonio Brown news, sort of quiet. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on, so kind of quietly. He finally got his suspension. He got 8 games, which to me, I'm surprised that it's that low. I thought it would be at least 10 games. And maybe because, I'm guessing because, you know, there's still more allegations. There's allegations of rape, which is a serious thing, and sexual misconduct, sexual assault. So, you know, the roller coaster he had last year, forced his way out of Pittsburgh, got to Oakland. Didn't even get to the first game. Got cut by them. Went to New England, played a game, played pretty good in that game as well. Something happened during the week and they let him go. And he's been out of a job ever since. Had some antics after that, you know, since he's been a free agent, beating up the mover or something for his things, and still going back and forth with people on social media. And the Ravens, because of the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, he's advocating for Antonio Brown. Now, me as a Ravens fan, I don't want to see him here. There's no disrespect to him. It's not because it's off the field stuff per se, but I think it's the locker room. I think Lamar's young, and I think I think the locker room needs to stay sort of young so he can be the leader. Excuse me. So I think Antonio Brown would be too much for the locker room. Now his cousin's there, Marquise Brown, and that's another thing. Distractions, you know. And Marquise Brown seems to have his head on straight. You don't seem like he's like Antonio at all. He seems more laid back. Hollywood Brown. I just don't think it would work overall. And then, like I was talking to somebody about this morning. Ravens as an organization, I'm a Ravens fan, so I know all about when the Ray Rice thing happened. And NFL is much different now, but you know, Ray Rice, he struck his wife in the elevator. The video came out. The NFL already suspended him 2 games. The video came out, and they definitely suspended him. And the Ravens cut him. Now they say he was a little bit not truthful to him, and that was sort of what happened. He didn't tell him that, how vicious it was or whatever. I think he left out some details, and then the tape came out, and I understand that. But I still thought you got railroaded a little bit, because first of all, the tape came out right before, like the week before he's about to come back to play, and this might be me being naive about this, because I mean, I know when you're being abused or you're being hurt, you might be scared to speak up. But his wife said it was just a one-time thing. He normally doesn't beat on her. We don't know that, so I'm not gonna go that far and say we don't know that. She married him afterwards. Not saying that he is not an abuser. I personally don't think so. I don't know him. I personally don't think so, but I just think the NFL just gave up on him. The post, like I said, Sometimes we either one of the first ones, even though he wasn't the first ones, but he was the first one that really had a video. They made an example out of him, and the Ravens did as well. So if you stand by that standard, how can you sign Antonio Brown? That's just my opinion. Like, I feel like it'd be a contradiction. You can't sign Antonio Brown if you really had a problem with what Ray Rice did. Ray Rice, it was just domestic violence, which is bad. But this guy is accused of rape and sexual assault. That's, to me, is worse. So how can you sign this guy? You know what I'm saying? How can you, justify Ray Rice? Even though Ray Rice said it was years ago. I think it's been about 5 years, maybe longer than that. And it pretty much ended his career. And I think it wasn't fair. I think they should have just suspended him, maybe added some more games, and brought him back. He did everything he was supposed to do. Like I said, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. That could be a possible thing. Maybe the Ravens knew a lot more than I know, or anybody knows publicly. He hasn't been in the news again for it. And like I said, his wife vowed for him. Not saying that matters too much, because she could be just scared and not want to go against them. And then, they got kids together. They said it's a financial thing. A lot of people say, well, she ain't trying to leave the money. So, but like I said, these are factors. This is just speculation. I don't know. But, I just think that he was still done wrong. I think he should have got a chance to redeem himself, but he never did. So, the Ravens, to me, like I said, I'm a Ravens fan. And I like Antonio Brown. I think he's still the best receiver in football. Well, at least top 2, top 3 when he's at his peak. So, and then our offense, probably won't work for, just going off of history. He pouts about not getting the ball. He's not going to get the ball every game. We basically a running football team. Like, yeah, Lamar has some nice passing numbers. But basically, we are running. If we led the league in rushing, then we got all these new running backs, J.Q. Dobbins, the bus back there, Mark Ingram, Gus the bus, just to clarify, not Jerome Bettis. But, yeah, man, so I just think it's just not a fit. And if you go off this principle alone, how can you sign a Ravens? So, as I'm speaking as a Ravens fan now, I would want him as a talent, but you can't. It'd be hypocritical to sign him. But Lamar Jackson won him. But we'll see what happens in a few weeks. But he gets 8 games, so if you do sign him, he's gone for half of the season anyway. He won't be back till the 9th game, whatever your 9th game is. But that's so quiet news that I haven't seen a lot of people talk about that much, at least on the news waves. I mean, it's been a note, but hasn't been the number one news because of everything else that's going on in the sports world, basketball coming back, and what baseball dealing with. So, oh boy, we got through the show, y'all. It was a big show today. I'm just gonna touch on a few things before we roll out of here. College football. A lot of the big conferences, a lot of people was waiting what the big conference is going to do. Now, the ACC was first. I think they came out Thursday and said they're going to do a 10-game schedule and it includes Notre Dame in it, which is huge, even though, Notre Dame is an independent. But they're in the ACC anyway, other sports, so I don't think that was a long stretch for this to happen. But they left a week open for a non-conference game, but the other big conferences said no, we're just going to stay within our conference. Pac-12, Big 10, Big 10, Pac-12, Big 12. That's what I was thinking about. All those conferences, SEC, all those conferences said we're just going to do just an in-conference schedule, no non-conference games. So ACC probably had to scratch that and just do conference games as well. As of now, that's what's going to go on. So they give them some more time because the first couple of games probably would have been non-conference games. So I think the end of September, a lot of these big conferences are supposed to try to play some football. But like I said, it's going to be tough. Like everybody think it's a contradiction because they don't want most schools don't even want no students on campus that they might have to school from home. So how you gonna have these athletes on campus? So that's a contradiction, but they try to make that money, man. That's all. Try to make the money. So they're going to try it. Unless things get out of hand, I guess that's the plan for now. And like I did mention in the show, the NHL starts today. Now, I'm not a huge NHL fan. I try to follow it as much as I can, but they got basically it's already the playoffs. It's like a seeding tournament. I think the first round is the best of 3. Now I follow the Blackhawks and the San Jose Sharks. So I see where they land, and then I probably just glance at it. But I think theirs might work because like, they got a bubble. I think they got 2 bubbles in Canada, I believe. I think they split it off, and then once the teams start getting eliminated, I think they'll come together. But we'll see how that works. But they ain't had no positive test either in that bubble, just like the NBA has it yet. Now everybody they caught, it was already outside the bubble, and they might rejoin later, but we'll see. So that's something else to look at today. You know, probably still some NASCAR on TV if you're into that. Golf, you know, so sports is back, and I'm glad that it's back. It was good to just talk again. It was good to just have a regular show. I've been doing little specials, but as long as sports is running, I'm gonna be back here every Friday or Saturday. I think next week I'll probably do it Friday. So we'll see how that works. I just want to thank you guys again. Like I said, boys, as far as the channel is concerned, like I said, not really no new games. Well, Madden. So I might do something with Madden. I don't know. Like, this is just me just throwing stuff out there. It's nothing set in stone. I play Call of Duty a lot, so I might start putting those videos up. Like I said, I bought the game Rage 2, but I already pretty much finished it, so I think I'm just gonna let that game go. I'm gonna do some research. I'm gonna check out some games. Some games will Crash Bandicoot 4 is still like 2 months away still, but that's definitely gonna go on the channel. But like I said, I was gonna do Kakarot earlier this year, but it was copyright issues, so I couldn't post any videos, so that sucked. So that canceled that project. And now my editing is gone now again, because I do everything through my PlayStation 4, even this through the Playroom. That's why you hear that little music in the background. So I don't have like a legitimate camera other than my phone. And you know, with the phone it's tricky, you know, going over your megabytes, and it's basically space. So I'd rather just do this. It's been a good method for me. But just, I guess, just stay tuned. You know, I might come up with a plan, an idea, and I just throw it on the channel. So, but I thank you guys for coming here. I thank all the support I've been getting since I started back again. I hope everybody stays safe once again. Wear your mask, man. It's a big difference. Wear your mask. Stay safe. Try to social distance. I'm just gonna chill out. Got basketball day today, so I'm just gonna think about to take a little nap. You know, I worked all day yesterday and probably this morning, so I'm a little beat. We can take a little nap, power nap. Get up, probably watch a little basketball and go by. So I'm Troy West. Said thank you so much. This has been episode 129 of the Solid Sports Video Blog. Hope everybody enjoyed their weekend and stay safe. And I'll talk to you next Thursday. We'll be back. We'll have the look at the NFC West in the NFL. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.